Hey, Tyler here, the Cash Flow Guys podcast. Want to welcome you back. In this video, we're going to continue our series on the questions that you should be asking sellers when you're trying to buy an income property. In this video, we're going to cover specifically rent rolls and expenses, a very important part of the process. Here's the thing, as I said in some of my other videos, the difference between pro forma and actual rents and whatnot really comes down to the proof and the due diligence, the information and the data that's provided to you from the other party, in your ability to verify to see if it makes sense. The rent roll is a necessary tool because it gives you a visual breakdown on paper, in writing, of who is in what unit and how long they've been there. Let's say you're buying a portfolio or an apartment building that has more than one tenant. In that case, what you may see is certain apartments perform better than others. So one thing I would do by using this rent roll, and this is why this rent roll is so important, is if you see, let's say, apartment 23 is consistently vacant or turns over tenants quickly, you may ask yourself why. Maybe there's some issue with that particular unit. Maybe it's in a noisy spot, maybe it's next to the laundry room, maybe it's got a problem that it's just keeping people from staying there. If you can solve that problem, you can exponentially increase your cash flow and make a much better investment of it. I've had opportunities to where sellers have, instead of fixing problems, simply decided to overlook them and got so frustrated by the problem they chose to sell the property. Well, when I did the underwriting on the property and looked into the income and expense information, discovered these little quirks, knowing that I could go in and solve these problems, for me, makes a really good deal. And the seller, knowing these problems exist, will want to discount the property, especially if I help them in the negotiating process, discount the property, because they haven't corrected the issues. Let me give you an example of that. While going through expense documents on a small apartment building I bought a few years back, I noticed that the water bill was really, really high. This is a 4-unit little apartment building, and the water bill was $900 a month. $900 a month for 4 apartments. Well, I can't believe that that's normal, and it obviously was not normal. So what did we do? Well, we reached out to the city to ask them for a history of the water bills and found a trend. It found that for about the last 2 years, the bill had been that high, but then prior to that, it was down closer to $200, $250, something like that for water, sewer, garbage. So clearly something happened to indicate an increase. When we were making our offers and negotiating with the seller, we pointed out the fact that, the expenses in this property are high, and they acknowledged that they in fact were high. So based on that, for us, it's going to be a challenge to pay what their asking price is because of these high expenses. It's going to eat into our cash flow. So we use that as a bargaining chip to get a better deal. Right after closing, we got a leak doctor out there, repair company out there, to go through the building, found out that the toilet flappers in these 4 apartments were basically non-existent. These toilets ran 24/7, just leaking fresh water into the sewer system that the seller had been paying for all this time, because the seller was responsible for water, sewer, and garbage. So that's why getting the copies of the bills, number one, knowing who the utility company is, knowing who the insurance company is, knowing what vendors the seller uses, having that information at your fingertips, making those phone calls is going to help you really do a better job of understanding the pros and cons of this particular investment and to better gauge what to inspect. What you'll find is that a lot of times sellers don't fix problems that are, well, pretty easy to fix. And if you can fix those problems, well, you might be able to negotiate yourself a great deal. So hope you found value in this. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Smash that like button. If you have questions, comments, be nice. If you have comments, put them in the comment section below. I have a no troll policy. I'll troll you back. I'm just kidding. And make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, you get notified. You ring the bell, it will send you a notification and let you know that another video is out, so you can continue your education. I hope you become a bigger, better investor by using this content. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.